This is a presentation of the Olympic Channel, home of Team USA.
Montreal, Canada, the largest city in the province of Quebec, and this week, host of the world's best gymnasts. Today, the final day of competition at Olympic Stadium, where Morgan Hurd, the newly crowned all-around champ, is back in action. Against the home crowd favorite, she edged to win that title. And the men's events, a trio of Olympians seeking gold and a bit of redemption in their signature event.
Get the gold medals ready again.
The Olympic Channel, home of Team USA, presents the World Gymnastics Championships from Montreal. Hello, everyone. I'm John Roethlisberger, joined again by two Olympic legends, Nasi Lukin and Tim Daggett. Glad to be back in Montreal Olympic Stadium. And we're getting ready for the final day of competition, the individual event finals, and already some drama on vault.
It is unbelievable. This is Jan Haksoen. He is a two-time world championships. These worlds have been besieged by injury after injury on both men and women's competition. He pulls up right here.
Qualified in first place. Also an Olympic gold medalist in the vault in 2012. So this is pretty disastrous for him, but opens up the field a little bit.
And these are the introductions of the athletes getting ready to go on the vault. Marian Draganulescu having some fun. And these are the events we're going to contest today. We're going to start with men's vault, as we just mentioned. We'll also have women's balance beam, men's parallel bars, women's floor, and we're going to end on arguably the most exciting event in all of gymnastics, the always high-flying men's high bar. So now we have an injury to a favorite. Arguably the prohibitive favorite. Olympic champion came in first in the qualifications. How much does that open the door for all these guys now to not only maybe get on the medal podium, but win it?
Absolutely, it certainly does. Kenzo Shirai, who has already had a super successful World Championships, he could be right there to capitalize on that. He was third in the all-around, and yesterday won a dominating fashion on the floor exercise. But, you know, in addition to Jan Haksoen going down, Marian Draganulescu in the warm-ups also took a really kind of sketchy, scary landing on what he'll do for his second vault.
You know, of all the events in men's and women's gymnastics, as the rules have changed, vault seems like the one where, man, you're just putting it out there. As an athlete, you're standing at the edge of the runway and you're just holding your breath and you're going. And this is the gymnast, Artur Jalala-Yogan. We're going to work on that name a few times tonight. He's going to fill in for our Korean who had to step out in his spot for the final. So an opportunity for him as well. And Russia's had a good world championship so far. So Kim Han-sul for Korea will still have a chance to represent that country, hopefully in his countryman's stead.
And I'll tell you what, he had a fantastic floor routine going yesterday, and in his last tumbling pass, he just kind of threw it all away. Looking for a little redemption for him as well. But in the warm-ups, like I said, this is Marian Draganulescu, basically the king of the vault. Watch this landing, so low, and yikes. Wow. Immediately grabbing that ankle. I mean, that was a coach's and gymnast's worst nightmare. You are under-rotated, and you are twisting into the floor. That is a recipe for disaster.
I can vouch for that. I've been there. And here's the start list now for the men's vault. A couple of Japanese. We had two Koreans until the injury. But one thing about vault, man, it is a high-flying event. High risk, high reward.
It really is. And Tim, as you said, Kenzo Shirai, he actually qualified in second place. Of course, the qualification scores do not carry over to the finals. But now with that door a little bit open, he definitely wants to take advantage of that. Hopefully adding another gold medal to his collection.
So they will be doing 2 different vaults. They'll take the final score for each one, put them together, come up with an average, and that will decide who takes home gold, silver, and bronze. But just a quick note, if you are a gymnastics fan and you watch the Rio Olympic Games, every score that you see today will be a half a point lower than it would have been if you were competing just a year ago. After every single Olympic Games, they retool the rules. They make it a little bit more confusing for the gymnast coaches, and they really make it a lot more difficult for the audience too, which is a frustration of mine, but it is a reality. So every score 5/10 lower than it would have been last year.
This is our first gymnast that's going to be competing here on the vault finals. This is Keisuke Sato from Japan. As we mentioned, 2 Japanese will be competing in these vault finals, getting some last-minute pointers from his coach.
And, you know, you can't talk about Japan and not mention that Kohei Uchimura went down just nearly at the very beginning of the qualification rounds. He was going for his 7th all-around in a row world title. He has 2 Olympic gold medalists interspersed between them, but he had to pull out, and Kenzo Shirai was there to pick up the slack. And I'll tell you what, this guy can get the job done. This is incredible. He's going to do a Sukahara with a double back, and he's going to do a full twist on it. Oh,
My knees hurt just looking at that one. Holy cow.
Whew. And to be a great vaulter at this point in time, you can't just be a little bit crazy. You can't just be incredibly strong. You got to be able to take the shot on the landing. Look at that. I mean, many gymnasts, people, if they were to have that force coming down, watch how low he is, but so much going on. Double back with a full twist, and then look at how compressed his knees get.
Elbow touch, Tim?
Very close. I don't think they're going to say that it did.
Of course, we can kind of see it a little bit better when we put it in slow motion, but the judges...
Well, the judges are cringing as well.
They are.
So,
in general, if you make a judge cringe, I'm guessing that's not a good thing.
well, not a great thing. This should still get a pretty good score, but wow, that he can go and do another super difficult vault right now after that landing.
And there, 14.766. Did get a 110 penalty. You saw his foot go over that line. Got to stay in the center of that mat.
Ouch. That these vaults are becoming commonplace now is just mind-blowing to me. Still only probably 2 handfuls of people in the world are doing that vault that we just saw there. Maybe even not quite that many. A lot of the gymnasts, they train their first vault more, so the one you just saw, and then when they get ready for a Worlds or a European or Olympics, they spend more time on their second vault. Woo. Wow. And then once again.
That landing looked even a little bit lower, a little bit more painful. It happened so quickly, I'm not even sure if he touched the ground. We'll have to see now in the replays.
Yeah, it looked like he could have touched the ground, but this is a handspring and then a layout front, and he does 2.5 twists. He just keeps spinning in both hands, definitely down. That is a full point off on the landing alone, but look at how much twisting is going on and flipping at the same time. But let's watch right here. You see the hands go down, knees absolutely touch as well.
Beautiful body position in the air, though. Gets a lot of great height. And really just until the very end, right here, pike down. And of course, that is a full fall.
There might be some ice bags in Keisuke's future, I think. Wow, what a start to this vault final. No shortage of excitement.
You know, I said it, you know, you have to physically be able to take a hit like that, but you also have to be daring enough. I mean, you could you could take a poll of all of the top gymnasts competing here at World Championships and ask them, would you be willing to do a vault that hard, and would you be willing to take a landing like that? I know I would have said no.
And how many times do you think a guy like this practices that vault on a hard surface?
I hope not often.
And there's vault 2 at 13.933. So the average of a 14.349 is the early score to beat. Fellow Japanese Kenzo Shirai, bronze medal in the all-around and the floor champion here in Montreal.
And I don't know what he's going to do. He only did a Yurchenko with 3 twists only in the qualifying, but he did in podium training a 3.5 twist, which is uber difficult. And he went with going nice and clean. I would say with Yang Hak-soon out, he probably knew he didn't need to do that.
He went easy, only a triple twist.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's the way to go. As we've watched him on the floor exercise, just like right here, super clean in the air. Little bit of, at the very end, his toes crossed.
But the thing I look at right here that is so amazing is not only does he have a good landing, but watch his body position as he's reaching for the floor, completely upright, and just a small little hop backwards.
If there's a gymnast in the world or in the history of this sport that can twist better than this young man, I'm not sure who it is, because it is amazing how much he can get done in the air.
And just makes it look so incredibly easy.
I mean, you contrast that with the last 2 vaults we saw in the body position upon impact with the floor. This should be 9-4 or better execution score, I would say.
Let's see if the judges got that memo.
The judges have been fairly strict. Wow.
Yep.
Great
Look
job,
at you, Tim Daggett. 9.6 for execution and a big 15.2.
Now, once again, he's in qualifying. He did only 2.5 twists on this second vault. In vaulting, you have to do not only 2 vaults, but they have to be from what we call different families. So his entry onto the table will be different this time. He's capable of doing harder than what he did in qualifying. And he once again goes with being clean. And that worked yesterday for American Yul Moldauer. He went clean on floor. Very low start value score, earned him a bronze medal. So this is a Kasamatsu style vault. Kind of a little bit of a side thing going on with his knee on that landing.
Looks like the 2.5 might have been a wise choice.
Yikes. Now, this style vault, you see his legs are a little bit apart on the vaulting table. The judges know that virtually everyone that does this vault, when they are doing from the board to the table, you're gonna lose at least a 10th, and that's probably 3 off on it. Was nowhere near as nice in the air. The body position upon landing wasn't as good, so we won't see a 9-6 execution score on this one.
And vault to a 14.6, so a nice 14.9 average. We do have a new leader. We expected that. The question is, can that 14.9 hold up in that gold medal position? Now our next vaulter, George Vega from Guatemala. This is his 4th appearance at the World Championships and his first time making an individual final.
Says it's important to him to set a example by encouraging the new generation of athletes. I saw him early on in Montreal on the first day that the training opened, and boy, he can vault. Not super difficult stuff, but he gets a tremendous run and explodes off of the table here. Look at the run. And that is the way you do that vault.
And he was pumping himself up before that vault. You could see him on the end of the runway.
So we've already seen this vault to a very different result, but watch how straight he keeps his body. And 2.5 twists again, but you see that foot step over the line, and that will incur a neutral deduction.
Again, we're looking for those open hips in the air.
And tuck that string in, will you, Jude?
Now you're
Just
getting real picky, Tim.
A little bit of a pike down on that landing, but as you said, Tim, not nearly as bad of a landing as we previously saw. Getting a little sloppy with the legs in the air.
But way better body position.
So now Vega with his second vault. Gonna have to be a great one if he wants to threaten that top spot currently held by Kenzo Shirai. 14.7. Kenzo averaged a 14.9 between his two vaults, so this one will have to be better.
Yeah, really, it's unrealistic to think that he can challenge Kenzo. It's just whether or not he stays in the hunt to make it on the podium. He doesn't have the level of difficulty that was needed he qualified in the 8th spot, so moving up will be a huge accomplishment for him. Same vault we saw Kenzo do on the second one. And that was tremendous. Great form in the air. That is only a 1/10 step. All day long today on the men's side, you see somebody take a step. If it is shoulder width or less, it's only 1/10 of a point off. If it is more than shoulder width, then it is a 3/10 step. On the women's side, it's actually a meter, not a shoulder width.
Guatemala has never won a medal, either on the men's or the women's side at the World Championships, so this would be very historic if he could make a podium finish here today.
And maybe not one of the favorites, but he put them both on his feet, and that's going to give himself a chance.
Yeah, this was a great vault. This was a really tremendous vault. We'll see harder vaults today, but I don't know if we'll see many that are executed or landed better than that one right there.
See his coach getting it on video. Want to remember this moment. Vault 2, 14.708. So a nice 14.704 average for Vega. He's having a good time, and why not? And now, arguably one of the greatest vaulters in the history of the sport of men's gymnastics, 10-time world medalist, Marian Draganulescu from Romania.
And many of the best vaulters in the world do his vault. It's called a Draganulescu. It's a handspring, double front off the table with a half twist at the end. It's actually 3 times around. That's what he usually does for his first vault, and it's right here. Oh. He usually has a slightly more controlled landing than that. Remember, he had that really nasty vault in warm-ups.
And just too much power, which, when did you ever think you'd say that about a vault like that? Unreal.
You know, I think there's no question he stung his ankle in warm-ups bad, and if you come in short on a landing after you've done that, it's really big trouble. My guess is he tried to be a little bit over on this, take a step back, because he probably knew that he would not be able to do a second vault if he hadn't.
John, as you mentioned, 10-time world medalist and won gold in the vault in 2001, 2005, 2006, and 2009.
Trying to become a 5-time gold medalist at a world championship on this event. And a 14.7.
And this vault is actually harder than what he showed on his first vault. And remember, in warm-ups, he landed not only under-rotated, but he was still twisting into the ground. This is named after great Chinese gymnast Li Xiaopeng. whole lot going on. Half turn onto the board, half turn onto the horse. Then he'll leave the horse 1.5 flips with 2.5 twists. And he opts to go with an easier vault. Probably couldn't fathom to take another landing. He does not do the extra half turn. It'll lower his start value, but it will allow him to walk off the podium.
Well, and I was just about to say, probably a smart decision after that warm-up where he did not have a good landing.
And he will need a 15-1 to tie the average of Kenzo Shirai of a 14-9.
And it was a very nice vault, done well, just subtracted that last half turn that caused him so much turmoil in the warm-ups. Gets really good height, laid out somersault with 2 twists. Can't imagine that this would end up ahead of Kenzo, but this was pretty well executed. Just a little bit of knees in the air and a little soft feet. And that right there, that is a 3/10 step for sure.
Vega from Guatemala in the background. You can see him watching closely because as every vaulter goes through, if he can maintain that second spot, he gets ever closer to Guatemala's first world medal. And there's the average. He is going to move into second, but Kenzo Shirai will hold on to the top spot. We have a lot more vaulters to go as we look at the beautiful St. Lawrence River here in Montreal. We'll have the rest of the vaulters when we come back. The World Gymnastics Championships are brought to you by AT&T. Another beautiful day in Montreal, Canada. What a great host city for these World Championships. The second time in their history that they've hosted the World Championships. The first time was back in 1985.
I had the pleasure to compete in those Worlds.
There's our current leader, Kenzo Shirai from Japan. A few more vaulters yet to go, but he's got to be happy with what he did. Marian Draganulescu currently sitting in that second spot, looking for yet another world medal on this event. And go back to the vault. This is Ukraine's Igor Radulov, and he is a vaulter that is amazing as well.
And this is a Draganulescu right here. See if he can hone in on that land.
Wow.
Oh, my.
There was no yoga position on that landing. Holy man.
I mean, okay, Tim, you said higher than a 9.4 earlier. What would you give this execution right here? I mean, that was pretty much as close to perfection as possible.
Yeah, but I think that Kenzo is probably still going to have a higher execution score. Remember, on his first vault, he had a 9.6. Look at the legs right here. You see them apart, and that position is what we call a cowboy position. His knees, if he's going to do it perfect, have to be completely together, but this is phenomenal. Huge rebound off the table. He's spotting the ground right there, puts his feet down exactly where he wants to do it. I hate to say this, but Marian Draganulescu used to be able to do this vault like that almost every time. I think he did it a little bit better in one of his Olympic games, and I was really upset the judges didn't give him a 10, because at that point in time, it was absolute state of the art.
So you are right, Tim Daggett. The execution score is a little lower, but still 15.033.
That is a big, big number. Remember, Kenzo averaged a 14.9. And this is another crazy vault. Hold on. Wow. Pretty darn great.
And we remember Radulov from the event finals in Rio, where he actually tried a handspring triple front, death-defying vault, which we're not even sure if it's legal to do that vault anymore, but
all around the world, people were saying, please, please don't do that vault, and he did 4 times around. But look at this, double pike, and yes, he's not as comfortable with this second vault Has to take a big step, and it's a 3/10 step.
But that's a scary vault. I mean, we have talked to numerous athletes who say that this vault, when they are standing there at the end of the runway, they are physically afraid to go for this vault. It is that scary.
Well, if they're not afraid, I don't know what's wrong with them, because it is just crazy difficult. So we got a 9.4 and change execution on the first vault. This one will definitely be lower than that. If he's above 9, though, he's going to be happy with it, my guess. 9.1, maybe 9.2.
Well, you've been pretty spot on so far, so let's see.
I believe, based on my elementary school math, he needs around a 14.8 or better to overtake Kenzo Shirai.
Well, he did just about as well as he can do. Yes, I've seen him have a slightly better landing on that second vault, but it's his first one is where he is really money.
Oh, wow. It does not get any closer than that. He's going to average a 14.899. Kenzo's in shock. Radulov is in shock. And Nasty Lukin's telling me I know exactly how that feels.
I sure do.
Wow. 0.001. That's smart.
Kenzo almost has a look of guilt on his face. He feels for this man.
You know, in my book, that's basically a tie. Because there is no amount of real deduction that you could change in order to be able to make up for that small deduction.
Now a reserve athlete from Russia that moves into a competition spot, Artur Dalogin.
Same vault we saw from Kenzo on the first one, triple twist, but nowhere near the same result. So he didn't just magically show up to the arena and somebody said, go get your uniform. You know, we had an athlete go down. He is prepared, and he is most likely warming up in the back gym prior. But it's a really nice vault, but you see both feet completely out of the area on that one. Severe deduction he'll incur for that. But when you put it up against what we just saw Radulov do and what Kenzo has done, it really doesn't hold up. You see him do that vault at any other competition and everybody'd be, wow, did you see that? But in the vault finals, has a maximum score of a 15.6.
Be interesting to put the vault finals from those 1985 World Championships you were in, Tim, up against, do a little side-by-side with this one. And I think a lot of people would be astounded at how much things have changed.
Well, the level of difficulty has just, you know, both on the men's and the women's side, just even in the last 10 years, has just skyrocketed.
And you can see the 3/10 deduction for both feet going outside the lines on that one, so 14.2.
So once again, they need to do 2 different vaults. So he did what's called a Yurchenko style, which was that round off or half turn onto the board. He will enter the board facing forwards this time. Ow. Oh. And he went for it, but
he might be wishing that he was still in the reserve spot right now.
Yeah, that wasn't even close. You know, both Draganulescu and Radulov, they did these vaults and you think, oh, it's really not that hard. But folks, 3 times around with a half turn at the end, kerpow, yikes.
It looked like he didn't quite even get a good grab on his legs, or does it a little differently where he grabs under his legs, which is a little unusual.
But I'll tell you what,
that does not feel good.
He just did not get a good block off the table. Things didn't really work in unison. The technique is so critical, and it all has to happen at microseconds. Ow. So that will take him completely out of it. He will not win a medal.
So there is only one gymnast left that can knock off Kenzo Shirai off the top spot, but Kenzo and Draganulescu will finish on the podium. The question right now is what color.
So remember, yesterday on floor exercise, I would say he was on his way to a medal. And then he kind of had a balance check, just standing in the corner, and then on his triple full dismount, came up really short, 2 bounding steps forward.
Correction, Kenzo and Radulov are in 1-2. This is whether Draganulescu can hold on to the bronze.
Oh, that was gorgeous. I would say the best one we've seen today.
He qualified in 7th place coming into this event finals. But again, these are the best of the best, the top 8 athletes on this event in the world, and they're all within tenths of a point. And that was good.
Korea has had a number of incredible vaulters. Beautiful laid out somersault, 2.5 complete twist. A North Korean, Ri Se-gwang, won the Olympic gold medal in Rio. He is not here at all in Montreal. Tell you what, you got to remember back though, Yang Hak-soon, right before the meet began, had to pull out.
14.966, so that is above the average final score for Kenzo Shirai. It's going to come down to the 2nd vault for Kim Han-sol from South Korea.
And Kenzo actually talking with his coach about the technique. I think he liked it. The advantage Kenzo has here, though, is this vault is not as difficult as his first, so it'll start slightly lower start value score. And boy, did he go for it. That is such a risky landing to come in a little under-rotated. Makes it so much easier to sit down. But I don't know if you noticed that, the bottom left-hand corner of your screen, it said a 5.2. So this vault's maximum score is a 15.2. So watch the legs. Do they stay together right here? Pretty good. And he did not go out of bounds. That's a 3/10 hop, though. He doesn't hop forward more than shoulder width apart, but, well, I don't know.
That's close.
That's close.
And that judgment call is probably going to be the difference.
It is. Legs did come apart, as you could see in that replay, which is, you know, very typical on this style of vaulting, and it happens so fast. Sometimes the judges just take it regardless, even if they don't see it.
Trying to follow in the footsteps of his teammate Yang Hak-soon, who had to withdraw from this vault final. He was a 2-time world champion on this event, and Kim Han-sol is trying to carry that baton and win gold here in Montreal. And there's his average 14.766. He does not win, but he gets on the podium, and he is thrilled.
And knocks Marian Draganulescu off of the podium. There's your winner, Kenzo Shirai. Wow, Kenzo has 2 gold and a bronze.
This has
What
really
a
been
world championship for him.
a remarkable week for him. With such disappointment for Japan when Kohei had to pull out of the all-around finals, and he truly stepped it up for his country this week here in Montreal.
That man right there, Radulov, might have thought he had the gold. He did 2 unbelievable vaults, but You know what, when it's .001 separation, you're really splitting hairs, and honestly, you could have flipped a coin and been happy with either one of those on top of the podium. But Marian Draganulescu had a couple of great vaults, just a few too many steps. We're going to get a chance to see the world all-around champ. You're looking at her, Morgan Hurd. She'll be in the beam finals next. Beautiful Montreal, Canada in the 2017 World Gymnastics Championships. Montreal actually sits on an island in the middle of the St. Lawrence River, and if you are a world traveler, you got to put Montreal on the bucket list. Beautiful place and great host for these World Championships. And here's your start list for the balance beam finals. We can see Japan has got a couple finalists in there. Morgan Hurd, the new all-around world champion, will be competing as well. And the lady that she battled out for that gold medal, Ellie Black from Canada, the hometown favorite, will be in as well. And the balance beam is always tough, and we saw it in the all-around finals, Nastia. It was tough for these athletes.
It was, and you see right here, did an amazing job staying on that beam, really fighting till the end. The judges were a little generous, in my opinion, with her score.
That's actually a whole half a point if you grab the beam, and then she had a whole lot of stuff going on afterwards. I agree with you, Nastia. I thought it was a bit overscored.
And Morgan, again, right here, didn't have her best routine, was very wobbly, pretty much on a lot of her skills. You could tell the nerves were getting to her. This is that one event that can't show nerves. You see a big wobble there as well. But she was able to hang on, which ultimately helped her win that gold medal in the all-around competition.
Elena Yeremina comes out. She will be in this balance beam final as well.
She won the bronze medal in the all-around. Very young gymnast, her first senior world championships.
Possibly the next big Russian star. We may be absolutely seeing her coming out party right here.
Well, her coaches say that she's not just going to be a member, she's going to be a leader of this team down the road.
All-around silver medalist representing Canada, Elizabeth Black.
And this young lady has been on fire at these World Championships. Made history for Canada with that silver medal in the all-around. You heard the crowd. They love her. And she would love to get some more hardware.
Representing Japan,
Mai Murakami.
And you know, we talked about the falls, or not falls, but the struggles on balance beam. She actually, I believe, would have come out on top over Morgan Hurd, but she, on a double turn on balance beam, came off for 1 point.
Representing Japan, Asuka
The second
Teramoto.
gymnast from Japan, Teramoto. Quite the introduction. Kind of reminds you, if you're a gymnastics fan in the United States, of college gymnastics introductions. It's a lot of fun. We see Morgan Hurd, and that smile is infectious. You've seen it pasted on her face throughout these entire World Championships. I do want to go back to when we first saw Morgan Hurd, Nasty. It was at the Nasty Lucan Cup, and I want the world to know, I said I'm the first person on the Morgan Hurd fan club.
I might have joined you there, John. I was very impressed with her, even as a young gymnast there. Of course, still a young gymnast here today, but I got a chance to talk to her after she won that gold medal in the all-around competition. She was just still in complete shock. Said she was waiting for her final score to come up, the final scores. She said, my legs were shaking. I just couldn't stop my legs from shaking. I was so nervous, so excited. And finally, when the scores came up and saw her name at the top of the leaderboard, just couldn't believe it.
So we are done with the introductions. The pomp and circumstance is going to wind down for these beam finals as we get ready to go. The gymnasts will be trying to calm their nerves and see if they can be a little more steady than we've seen throughout this competition. You know, you talked about the all-around finals being tough on balance beam. The qualification round, the execution scores and the overall scores were just brutal on this event.
Absolutely. It was almost impossible to get a good score. Olympic champion Sanne Weverse from Holland, she didn't even qualify, was planning on doing a 16.5 starting score, ended up getting only a 15.0. They put in an inquiry, it was rejected, but they were, as you said, John, absolutely brutal.
And here they're going to start right away in the event finals. You warm up, and then you do not get the 30-second touch, that extra warm-up that you normally do in the all-around finals. A little bit more pressure, some more nerves, and here we go.
And this is Pauline Schaefer. She's been here before. She's won a bronze medal at the World Championships on this event. She's from Germany.
Third highest score in qualification. Now the judges change in every competition a little bit. So you never know exactly what the panel is going to be like, but the head judge remains the same. Beautiful. It's called a switch ring. She drops her head back, loses sight of the beam, which is something you really don't want to do. Really cool.
You know, I watched her do this in podium training, and the first time I saw it, I was actually a little confused on exactly what that was. Had to rewatch a video of it. You know, I always love seeing gymnasts do unique skills, not the same thing every single time. Beautiful routine so far.
Gainer back salto in the laid out position.
Seems like a relatively easy dismount compared to some of them that we've seen in this competition.
Non-traditional, that's for sure.
Not as much risk. We've talked about that a little bit.
Weverse did it though, with a full twist, however, in Rio.
Here's her series. Beautiful back handspring back layout. A little bit off, but manages to cover that up.
And this is a lot harder than it looks, staying up on what we call releve the whole time, up on the balls of her feet. And this is that really cool skill, side flip with an extra twist.
Hard to tell from that angle, but
look at those toes, baby. They're like talons.
So one routine in on these beam finals, and so far it's only one, but a bit more steady than we've seen so far in this competition. She likes it.
And in the qualification round, she scored a 13.433. So hoping to do, of course, a little bit higher than that.
So we're going to get another look here at some more replays. The judges working a little bit hard to make sure they get this first score correct.
There's that dismount. You want to see her hips open all the way to the end, and that was pretty good. Sometimes you see that pike down. And I have to say, sometimes the coach is a little bit more nervous than the actual athlete. Myself, now not competing anymore, when I watch, you don't have control over what's happening. You don't know what's going on in the gymnast's mind.
I think your mom had a little trouble watching balance beam over the years, didn't she,
absolutely
Nastia?
did.
And so there you go. Now that 8.0 is not a bad execution score because we haven't seen a lot of those.
Not on beam, not on beam.
So now Yelena Yeremina, double medalist at these World Championships so far. She's got a silver, she's got a bronze. She just needs to add a gold to her collection and has a tremendous chance to do that here.
Popular mount here in Montreal. A switch split leap. We're seeing a lot of gymnasts now that are doing acrobatic-esque type elements onto the beam. Beautiful, just a slight little adjustment there.
Little off there. The dismount left right here.
Oh boy.
And that is what might cost her. That's something she might be looking back on, that dismount. Her chest was a little bit low. Of course, those multiple steps. Almost not quite sure she got it completely around. We'll have to see what the judges...
Yeah, I don't think she got it completely around, but that really is going to do some damage because up until that point, you know, I mean, slight little balance checks, but as we have said, the judges here have been, it's been really hard.
And how many times have we seen a routine at these World Championships where it is a great routine and it's that dismount where they take a step and maybe a little other step and then they pike down, and before you know it, they almost have a point in deductions just on that dismount after a great performance.
Yes, it has been the case. So watch right here. She's trying to go 3 times around, so she should be facing the beam completely. I don't know.
It actually wasn't bad from that angle.
But her legs are skewed. She takes that step off to the side, then another slide. So she gets deductions for being off to the side as well as taking the step.
And she qualified in 6th place coming into this event finals with a 13.233.
And just to give you a perspective on that 8-0 or higher execution score, of all the gymnasts that competed in the beam competition here at the World Championships, there was one that scored above an 8, and that was Pauline Schaefer, who we already saw go
and do it.
And
again.
she did it again.
Yeah, the way they've been judging, I can't imagine this will be in the 8s. If she had had a great dismount, yes, but not even close.
Correct. 12.966 for Elena Ermina. The pace of play slowed here a bit by the judges. Hopefully they can pick it up the rest of the way. And you can hear the crowd cheering for their favorite, Ellie Black.
Oh boy.
And right on that second skill, you could see she was a little bit off, but tried to maintain that connection into the 3rd skill. Great combination, just again, a little off.
Ellie was doing an American Cup a number of years ago, and she told me that the goal is to dream big and don't let anyone set your limits. She certainly didn't, because she made history, as we've said, in the all-around for Canada.
Coming up next, here's that skill that she struggled on in the all-around finals, almost coming off of the beam, but saving it. A front tuck right here.
And she does a carbon copy, but can't even hold on and is off the beam. Grabs the beam. Get her composure here for a big dismount, double pike. A great finish, but that will take her off the podium.
Well, for Ellie Black, she will have one more chance at the final to do another thing no Canadian gymnast has ever done, and that's win 2 medals at the same World Championships. She'll be in the floor final, but not going to happen here on beam for her.
Beautiful double turn, right into a full turn. Very, very difficult. When you do things in combination like that, they don't just get, it's just not 2 skills that are hard. It gets way more difficult. It's additive.
Here's that front flip that she struggled with. It just seems off and a little bit over-rotated, just like she did, Tim. You said carbon copy. It was very, very similar. But in the all-around finals, she was able to hold on. Not here today.
I have a feeling she'll be doing a few extra punch fronts on the balance beam when she gets back to the gym after this competition.
I'm not quite sure. I think this might be it, but for her. I don't know if she's publicly said that, but I know that, you know, she's already done a lot in the sport of gymnastics, and having a Worlds at home, I think was certainly a big deal for her in making the decision to continue on. She might continue, but
she is a 2-time Olympian. She's done a lot, as you mentioned, Tim. She is 22 years old, which starting to get up there for the women gymnasts, unless, of course, you're Oksana Chusovitina, and then you haven't even gotten started yet.
You got 2 decades left. 42 years old. And, you know, I don't know if we got to say this yesterday, but I really thought she was kind of hammered a little bit on her second vault. I think she ended up 5th. But what a gymnastics icon and a hero around the world, Oksana Chusovitina.
And I think the world is going to be a little depressed when she does retire. And I mean, she looks great. I don't see an end in sight yet, but always fun to see year after year have her come back and threaten for medals is even more amazing. So the judges aren't cooperating yet. They're taking their sweet time.
But it's not going to happen for her. She knows that. It's just a formality, and you see the 12.4, the 6.7 in execution. So if she had done the routine without the fall, it would have been only a 7.7.
So Mai Murakami is the next gymnast up. She's from Japan. Tim talked about it earlier. She had heartbreak on this event in the all-around finals. She fell. She was in position to very likely win that gold medal, but became a victim of the balance beam, trying for a little redemption here.
She finished completely out of the medals, and it was close. Very nice pike front somersault. Here's her series. Pretty good. Probably a 10th in every other meet, but maybe they found a little more here.
Beautiful switch ring.
So this is where it went wrong. Survives, incurred some deductions, but staying on the beam, unlike all-around finals. She also will do floor exercise coming up a little bit later in the finals. Another big dismount, double pike. A lot of power, but a very big step and a little bit of leg control. She can land that much better. Remember Pauline Schaefer leading the way at this point, 13.533. Got to that magical 8.0 or better execution score.
Beautiful mount, switch leap right there.
When you do that with your legs straight, it's called a pike somersault, makes it infinitely more difficult and gives you more bonus tenths.
It's amazing looking at the feet of female gymnasts on beam, and they're like hands.
Yes, absolutely.
Really got to grip that beam.
Double pike. Look at the step, though. Big step backwards. But she had a very nice body position as she's landing.
So for the Japanese women, it has been 55 years since they have won a balance beam medal at a World Championships. We'll find out if Mai Murakami can break that streak. We'll get her score when we come back. Welcome back to the 2017 World Gymnastics Championships in Montreal, Canada, named after Mount Royal, a triple peak hill in its heart, a beautiful city, and it's been a wild World Championships. And for Mai Murakami, a 7.666 execution, so the total of 13.066 puts her in second place. Man, the judges have got some sharp pencils. But that is only halfway through this beam final. There's our current leader, Pauline Schaefer. She's got a comfortable lead in that first spot. But some good gymnasts yet to come, so she cannot get comfortable. And Morgan Hurd, she is a big fan of J.K. Rowling. She got a congratulations from her after winning that gold. And here's Morgan's response. "Oh my God, thank you so much. Your writing has truly changed my view on the world and my life." Well, J.K. Rowling wasn't done. She tweeted back at Morgan Hurd, "I am truly honored to hear that from a real-life hero in glasses." And that's what she surely is. That's pretty cool for Morgan Hurd to hear from one of her heroes, J.K. Rowling. And Morgan Hurd, you are a hero in glasses, young lady.
I would have to say that J.K. Rowling's nearly 13 million followers should broaden Morgan's appeal just a little bit.
This is the other Japanese gymnast, Asuka Teramoto. She did her balance beam routine while we were at break. Here's a look at a bit of her routine.
You know, the Japanese women have always trailed the Japanese men, and she said, you know, that gives us power. They can do it. Maybe we can also. She told me that at an American Cup. Round off, triple full. What we saw from the Russian gymnast a little bit earlier, but much better executed there.
Seems happy with it as she was coming off the podium. Again, this would be a huge accomplishment for the country of Japan and their women's gymnastics program to get somebody on the podium in this beam finals. Currently Murakami sitting in that second spot. Now Teramoto waiting patiently to see where she is going to fall.
Let's see if she comes close to that magical 8.0. They were, a lot of gymnastics people were joking around. It's the new 10 in Montreal.
So she does not get the 8.0 in execution. She gets a 12.966. That's going to put her just outside the medals through 5 gymnasts in this beam final. And now her chance again. Morgan Hurd, do you ever think you'd be introduced as the world all-around champion? Begins her beam final.
And watch her talk to herself throughout this beam routine. We obviously don't know exactly what she's saying, but it's like non-stop.
Right off the bat, very difficult skill right here. Beautiful.
Great. She did that well yesterday in the all-around finals, or excuse me, a couple of days ago, and then once again gets that really difficult full out of the way.
And again, she's prepared. Her skills are there, her technique is there, showing a few signs of nerves. That was a little bit better than the all-around finals. Beautiful.
Definitely not going to connect those elements together, though, which would give her a slightly higher maximum score. But that's probably the best choice, and that was much better once again. You hear that tone. She has 10 seconds to get off the beam without incurring a deduction, and she's got a huge dismount prepared, gonna be really close, does not make it. Full twisting double.
And that was a great routine. Unfortunately, she will have a deduction for being over time.
Only 1/10 of a point, but
You know, but sometimes I have to say, yes, of course, you want to make it in under the minute and 30 seconds, but when you have such a difficult dismount like she did right there, it's better to take your time, to take a second, to really focus, or else you're going to be rushed and not focused and could do something very scary and dangerous, such as miss your foot, slip a little bit. So that was great.
I agree with you, 100%.
Give up the 10th to save a point.
Absolutely. And again, you know, I think for somebody like her, she was definitely a little bit surprised winning that all-around title. Comes in with a little bit extra pressure. She's competing out there for the first time as a world champion. But I thought she handled it very well. A few balance checks, such as this one right here on the side aerial.
That was really the only major one, but it was a couple at least on that one element. She had some really small ones, but it was a much cleaner routine than she did in the all-around finals.
And in the first day of competition in the qualifying round, she scored a 13.5, which she qualified into second place in the beam finals. And it could all come down to being over time, losing that deduction. We'll see now what the judges score her. But overall, she should be so proud of the week she has had here in Montreal, leaving with a gold medal in the all-around competition.
That dismount, full twisting double somersault, same one we saw Simone Biles do for so many years.
Very
really
good.
hard. Double back with a full twist.
Probably happy to be done.
She earned that deep sigh of relief.
She absolutely did.
All right, guys, I'm going to just say it. I'm going to talk about the elephant in the room right here. You talked about how hard judging has been on beam. As her score comes up at 13.4, she moves into second place. And that 1/10 penalty would not have made the difference. It would have still been in second, but it would have made it very, very close. These judges on beam, they're taking a long time to come up with the scores, and they're coming up with scores that you guys seem to think, man, where are they finding these deductions? Get to it later after this routine, but what are they doing is my question as we see Liu Tingting from China begin her routine.
And if there's an athlete that can challenge that top spot, Tingting can absolutely do that. She is glorious on balance beam. Was supposed to do more in Montreal. Look at this combination. Wow. Was supposed to do more events, but you see her ankles taped and bandaged.
Lose that connection right there. Was trying to connect those three elements actually. Got the last two.
Here we go. Nice side aerial.
So far, she has been very clean. Not really many wobbles or balance checks.
Not getting all of the connections she was hoping for, but once again, you hear that tone. 10 seconds to get off the beam, and she is not going to even come close to making it.
Another one over time. She qualified with a 13.233. Really taking her time here.
She must have heard you, Nastia.
And a very simple double twist dismount. You see her kind of have a little bit of a hitch step there. Her ankles have been a huge problem for her. She's capable of doing a more difficult dismount. Now, in the past, if she had done a double full in Rio, she would have incurred a bigger deduction, but they have changed that rule as well. She doesn't get a deduction. She just doesn't get as many bonus points as she could have had she done a more difficult dismount.
Which is an interesting rule, in my opinion, to be able to do a dismount so easy as a double fold. Don't get me wrong, it is a difficult dismount, but when you're talking about elite gymnastics, we're used to seeing athletes doing 2.5 twists, triple twists, full ins, double Arabians. So while they've changed the code of points to make some things more difficult, right here you see that double twist we're talking about. Some things they've made a little bit more simple for these athletes.
And if you're gonna do a double fold though, you really need to stick it. But as you can see her untaping. But I'll tell you that really nice leap there.
Once again, we wait and see what the judges will do. Had a very good execution, in my opinion. So let's see if she can make that 8-0. I'm not sure was quite there, but
you know, the Chinese as a whole, both men and women, had a horrific Olympic Games. Both teams coming home with only one medal. Almost unthinkable. Men and women both got a bronze in the team competition, but no individual event medals. The men have done great here in Montreal, though.
And Nastia, you said good execution. Apparently you were the only one, because she ends up with a 12.766. Now, that means two things. Morgan Hurd will get another medal, and Germany is guaranteed a gold medal on the balance beam. This is Tabea Alt. She is also from Germany. Right now, her teammate Pauline Schaefer holds the top spot.
Beautiful combo right there.
and she actually qualified in first place into this event final with a 13.533.
Tell you what, if Germany can come home with a gold and another medal as Pauline Schaefer looks on, her
Bottom right
teammate.
corner. And you can tell she's a little bit nervous. Germany has not won a women's world gymnastics title since 1981.
And that streak is over. It's just a matter of which one will be on top.
Nice leap into that side flip.
So the advantage that she had here was her difficulty score had a
Double tuck, really nice in the air. Knees pasted together. Had a good body position on the landing, but that was a 3/10 step for sure.
But as I was saying, she had a potential difficulty score of a 15.9, where her teammate Pauline only had a 15.3. So as we said, a gold medal guaranteed for Germany. Now we just wait and see which one it's going to be.
So once again, as I said, a lot of the gymnasts here in Montreal doing these acrobatic mounts, which had pretty much disappeared from women's gymnastics for a long time. They are back in vogue. She had some errors, though.
She did. Right there, really.
That was probably her biggest.
Yep, more than 1/10 for sure. You know, and this is just so exciting for Germany. To not only win that gold medal, potentially have a possibility of winning 2 medals right here in this balance beam finals.
So a streak of 36 years for Germany of winning a medal on beam. Now the other thing that is at stake here is a streak for Japan, 55 years without a medal on the balance beam at a world championships, and Murakami is perilously hanging on to that third spot with a 13.066. So we'll need to watch that as well as the score comes in.
If she ends up in the dreaded 4th position again after the all-around, and she does. Ouch. But a win for Tabea Alt and 2 medals for Team Germany. Gold and bronze, silver medalist Morgan Hurd.
Amazing. Pauline Schaefer, she is your winner. Morgan Hurd with the silver, and Tabea Alt with the bronze. And great. I don't think Germany could have hoped for better than that. And again, you mentioned it, Tim. Mai Murakami, your heart has got to go out to her. 2 near misses, 2 4th-place finishes. So close to that medal podium. She's not done. She has a fantastic job, or a fantastic chance on floor exercise, but tears of joy for Pauline Schaefer, world champion on the balance beam. Wow, really amazing. You know, 2 medalists from Germany. It's, you know, they've always had a good program, but they haven't been one of the programs that you would historically point to. The Russians, the Americans, the Chinese, the Romanians of past, they are not in that category, and they got 2 of them. And this young lady right here, she's got 2 as well. Gold and now bronze on the beam. Silver on the beam, excuse me. Germany's thrilled. These 2 will be basking in this moment for a long, long time. Quite something to say, Pauline Schaefer. You are the best in the world. We're going to come back and we're going to see the actual routine that young lady Morgan Hurd clinched the all-around gold medal when we return. In 2018, the world's best athletes compete on the world's biggest stage, the Winter Olympics, coming February to the networks of NBC Universal. Welcome back to Montreal. Couple events in on these event finals, and one of the biggest stories coming into the all-around finals wasn't it what happened on the floor, but Regan Smith, the prohibitive favorite to win the gold, gets injured in warm-ups of the all-around final. She landed a vault, twisted her ankle, x-rays were taken, and we are told she suffered a right ankle ligament injury, which prevented her not only from being in those all-around finals, but she also made the floor finals, which she obviously had to withdraw from. And that gave young Morgan Hurd the opportunity, and she finished her competition in the all-around on floor exercise. She came into this event second behind Ellie Black from Canada. She knew she had to have a performance for the ages, and here's what she did.
Well, in night 1 of the competition at the World Championships, the qualification round, she actually had a major mistake on the floor exercise, putting her knee down on her 3rd tumbling pass. So she knew she could not afford any mistakes here.
And this is the highlight for me. Double twisting, double somersault. She does it so easily. That is not easy, folks. I teased with her that, you know, she was born in China and adopted to the United States. And I said, China has been searching for someone that's as powerful as you on the leg events, vaulting in floor for so long. They're going to see you at an international competition, and they're going to want to take you home with them.
And that's never been more true than right now.
And not only is she so strong, but just beautiful. And here's that pass she struggled with in qualifications.
Wasn't great. She took a step and went out of bounds, but
much better.
Not disastrous, that's for sure. But for her to come here, her first World Championships, she was 6th in the all-round at the P&G Championships. After the team was selected, there were many that questioned this. Well, they didn't know what the future held for this young lady. She will continue the dominance. Since 2010, the USA has won every single world all-around title, and they did it here, Morgan Hurd style, in Montreal.
What a performance She keeps the streak of world all-around champions alive, as you mentioned, Tim Daggett. A surprise maybe to the rest of the world, but for those of us that have been watching Morgan Hurd for a long time, maybe we thought this was going to be Regan Smith's moment, but when she had her opportunity, we thought she could do it, and she did. We're going to get a look at the men's all-around finals and how that played out when we come back. They're handing out the vault medals here in Montreal Olympic Stadium. We have finished 2 event finals, the men's vault, the women's balance beam. Kenzo Shirai adds to Japan's medal total, and he's got all of Japan's medal total right now. 3 medals for that young man at these World Championships. It's been a great showing. And what a vault final, you guys. My goodness. I mean, put a catapult on the end of that runway and it wouldn't have been more exciting.
Yeah. Yeah, of course, the .001 was the difference between gold and silver.
Oh, and that's Yuri Titov handing out the medals right there, former president of the FIG.
So we reviewed the women's all-around finals and how exciting that was. Well, the men's all-around finals were as exciting. And this was your winner, Zhao Rotong from China, on his clinching high bar routine.
And if there was a team that needed redemption, it was the Chinese men, and boy, did they ever deliver. 1-2 in the all-around, but this man, the thing that I really loved about him is he was so incredibly aggressive. You know, sometimes it's easy to be a little bit careful, to not make a mistake, and usually when you do that, you run into a lot of trouble, but he was not any of that at all. All he had left was his dismount, and he knew with that, wow, what a day for Team China.
4 medals so far in this World Championships for China, so they've rebounded nicely from Rio, and they've got a great chance later this evening for the parallel bar finals. They go 1-2 here in the all-around Lin Xiaopan. Zhao Rotong's teammate gets the silver, and Kenzo Shirai, what a World Championship for him. He gets the bronze. So we are going to have the beam medals. We're going to see Germany get that historic gold in moment. Morgan Hurd walks out to receive her 2nd medal at these World Championships. The new sweetheart of U.S. Gymnastics, the world all-around champion, and now silver medalist on the balance beam. But the country of Germany, they have got to be all smiles right now. They get a bronze medal from that young lady, Tabea Alt, and her teammates. Pauline Schaefer breaks a streak that dates back to 1981 of no medals for their country on this event. She not only won a medal, but she won the best one, the big one, the gold.
Representing Germany, Pauline Schaefer.
And you know, the thing that's also impressive is they didn't just dominate here, the Germans. They also were equally impressive in the qualifying. So this was not a fluke, you know. A lot of people might be thinking that, well, Germany came away with 2 medals on one event. That, you know, so historic, but they were lucky. No, they weren't. They did it in the qualifying as well.
You know, and it was just such, of course, Germany winning these 2 medals on the balance beam, but I have to also say Morgan Hurd coming into her first World Championships, really her first big senior competition, multiple injuries all week long from some of the top competitors. She saw the door wide open, stepped up to the plate under quite a lot of pressure, and really just delivered.
She hit a home run.
She really did. The future is so bright for her. Now remember, earlier this year, Morgan had surgery on her elbow, so she is really still recovering, trying to get back into her prime. I feel like we are going to see a lot from her next year and the years to come.
The last chance to see Morgan Hurd at these World Championships. She will not be in the floor exercise final. But congratulations to her and to the Germans on a great balance beam performance. We will have the men's parallel bar finals next. Another chance to see Manrique Larduet from Cuba. And can Oleg Varnayev, the Olympic champion in Rio on this event, defend that title? Welcome back to the World Gymnastics Championships from Montreal, Canada. Presented by the Olympic Channel, home of Team USA. This is day 2 of event finals. Once again, John Roethlisberger joined by Tim Daggett, Nastia Liukin. Been a very exciting and surprising World Championships. You just never know from event to event who's going to be in it, who's going to be on top of that podium. A lot of new faces. It's been a lot of fun, quite frankly. We're getting ready for the men's parallel bar final, which Tim Daggett is a stacked lineup. This is going to be a good one.
Absolutely. Unbelievable athletes competing. I don't think you could definitively say who is going to come out on top. I certainly have my favorites at this point in time.
You like this guy a lot, don't you?
Oh, he is unbelievable.
Representing the People's Republic of China.
Jingyuan is just really, really off the charts. He can do every single move that has ever been done on parallel bars. I bet he can. It's unbelievable, and he does some that really only a handful of people have ever done. Yeah, he had some
He's got some swag there, man.
Yeah,
I like
walking
this.
in.
But you know, I keep talking about it, but in Rio, the Chinese men, they disappointed along with the women. And if you had told me before the Olympic Games that China would not come home with a parallel bar medal, I would have said impossible. They didn't.
And not only did they have 2 in the finals, they could have had more. They had a lot more in the top 8 in qualifications, but the 2 per country rule came up and bit them there. And unfortunately, the 2 that did make it didn't perform well enough to get on the podium. David Beliavsky looking for his 2nd individual event medal. He won one on the pommel horse, day 1. Pablo Vega from Switzerland
had a really nice qualifying score, but then stumbled in the all-around competition on parallel bars, which is probably his best event.
Representing Turkey, Ferhat Arıcan.
Ferhat Arıcan from Turkey. They had 2 gymnasts in the all-around finals at these World Championships.
Really nice to see. I'll tell you, when I was competing there, we didn't see gymnasts from the many different countries around the world like we now do.
There's your Olympic champion from 2016, Oleg Varnayev. As great as the Olympics were for that young man, these World Championships have been the polar opposite. A disaster, I think, would be a fair description. No medals so far.
2012
Germany, another representative in these finals. He is an Olympic medalist, Marcel Nguyen.
Got the silver medal in the all-around in 2012. Also has one of the most difficult dismounts off the parallel bars that's being done.
Also a silver medalist on the parallel bars at that competition. And Manrique Larduet became a legend in Cuban gymnastics when he won the silver medal in the all-around in 2015. Could not repeat that performance in the all-around competition here, but you talk about a guy that's got a lot of tricks up his sleeve. He can do a lot of gymnastics, fun to watch.
Potential is really unlimited, off the charts.
So the athletes have been introduced. They will make their way over to the parallel bars. They will put the magic formula on those rails. You can see China getting them ready. And they will jump right into competition. They're all warmed up. No more one touch. It's time to raise your hand and go. Now the Chinese gymnasts, 2 of the favorites, Tim, they got to go 1-2 right out of the gate here, which is not an advantage for them.
No, it is not at all. And I'll tell you what, being first up is usually kind of, it's a really, really hard thing to overcome. But right off the bat, I'm going to put my money on Jingyuan. He is phenomenal. His execution is impeccable. He actually didn't have his best routine in the qualifying. in getting ready for the World Championships. I was watching him in competition after competition on YouTube, and it's just like, blown away is an understatement.
And parallel bar seems to like one of those events too that if you just look back, you know, I guess it's going on 2 decades now since I competed, but the level of the skills they're doing and the number of difficult skills,
The quantity.
it is just, it's a different event.
So one of the things that makes him so good is when you go to your upper arms on parallel bars, to generate power is incredibly challenging for any athlete, and he makes it look like it's a walk in the park. And so he's able to do skills, frankly, that nobody else in this competition is capable of doing them. And it comes off right at the top. He'll get to a handstand here. He'll go back down to those arms on the bar. Really amazing. Another one right here. And look at, he's so light. Does that better than anybody I've ever seen. He makes it look effortless. Release. Oh, golly. Now he will go from one end of the bars. Check this out. Watch the height here. Oh! Completely traverses the entire apparatus. Oleg, you are the reigning Olympic parallel bar champion. You're yet to come, but if he sticks this, I don't know how it's possible. Wow. Oh.
That was just incredible. I'm pretty sure every single skill he did in that routine, he could do a tutorial on.
Wow.
And the kid has got some panache. You saw the #1 finger go up after he landed, and thank God he got done, because Tim Daggett, he was out of superlatives.
Look at that. Like I said, he just makes everything look effortless. It is exactly the essence of gymnastics. Do the hardest stuff and make it look easy. Well, congratulations. You painted that perfect picture.
And he scored an 8.633 on an execution score in the qualifications. And I watched that routine very closely, as you guys did too. The only real visible deductions right here.
Yes. 1/10 hop, maybe 1 to 3 even, with his chest down low at the end.
So let's be harsh. 4/10 on the dismount.
Yeah, well, if I were judging this routine, I would probably have a 9-3, 9-4 in execution.
Wow.
The judges will most likely be far more critical than that. But you know, that's one of the things that makes me crazy. He is absolute state of the art on parallel bars, and state of the art should be a perfect score, in my opinion. That's not perfect. Certainly, take a 10th for that hop.
He was trying really hard to stick that. You know, he had the air, and he just was opening up, looking for that landing just a bit too early.
At one place in the beginning of the routine where he kind of paused in the handstand, which technically they could deduct for that as well.
Again, this might be one of the hardest places to go in. That first spot.
Come on, judges.
You gotta wait.
Yeah, I knew they'd get more than I had. 9.1, a 15.9 though, a gigantic number, and what a start.
The highest parallel bar score by about 5/10. And I guess the 9-1 is low, but I guess really the barometer is now what do the judges do with the rest of the guys? Because if somebody else gets a 9-1 or higher, then you really got to start scratching your head, because not sure anyone can do it much cleaner than that.
Well, Oleg had 8-7 and change for execution deductions.
Lynn Chopin, Joe's teammate, is the second gymnast up. Another gymnast very capable of getting on that podium, but going up in the second spot will make it challenging.
And going up after that routine will make it exceedingly challenging, but he earns his high difficulty through pounding elements. You see those bandages on his arms right here And he does that really well, but when you compare it to our last gymnast, it just doesn't. Right here, another release. And he'll also, from one end to the other, very nice, not quite the lightness, though, that we just saw. Full spin on one arm. Little bit of an arch in that handstand. They'll take a 10th for that. Double pike. Oh, baby.
Finished with a silver medal in the all-around competition just a few days ago. Hoping, of course, to add another medal to that.
Well, on the face of that, phenomenal exercise, but it does not compare to Jingyuan. I just don't believe that it does.
Well, it's interesting, and I agree with you. It just seemed like Zhou floated through his routine a little bit more. But talk about the dismount. We thought maybe Zhou had 4/10 on his landing, 0 here.
Absolutely.
On Chopin, so that could be a big difference maker as well.
Once again, this skill from one end to the other, it's actually called a bafsar, invented by Olympic medalist from the USA, Raj Bafsar. One of the most popular elements for, there it is again, for only the top athletes, because it's not easy.
Should be happy. You can see that taped up shoulder. He struggled through his ring routine a bit in the all-around finals, and I'm sure parallel bars doesn't exactly feel good as he hams it up for the camera. And there we go, an 8.733. So the judges do hit him a little harder, as you thought, and a 15.133 for his total.
Well, I'll tell you what, sometimes you see the scores start to elevate the further into the lineup you get. And I sincerely hope that the judges recognized what they saw out of the box and keep that in perspective.
David Belyavsky from Russia is in 4 individual finals, the all-around pommel horse parallel bars, and he will be in the high bar finals as well. He won his first ever world medal, day 1 of individual event finals on the pommel horse.
And he's very good here as well. He's just got a lot of company.
Russia's never won a parallel bars world title. The last medal that they won was back in 2003 when Alexei Nemov won the bronze medal.
And right there, right off the top, didn't really nail that handstand position. His release skill from one end to the other.
Here's teammates in the back cheering from him, saying, keep working, keep working.
That's Russian translation, courtesy of Nastia. Little bit of a leg separation, not quite vertical in the handstand. Any other competition, people would be glued to this and be mesmerized because it is great. Big dismount. And done extremely well. Should not challenge that top spot. But really another great routine.
So far, parallel bar finals reminds me a little bit of the ring finals, where it's just one incredible routine after the other, where you're just picking a 10th here and a 10th there, separating these athletes.
Getting a hug from teammate Nikita Nagorny, who in my opinion has some of the greatest and most difficult gymnastics in the world. But you see that right there, really shy of that handstand. And just a couple of little flutters of the feet throughout the routine. Did this well. Typically you see this done at the very top of a routine. That's called a whippet. Great, great routine, and just phenomenal dismount. Double front with a half. Has plenty of time, spots that ground, bam. All all you can do is the best that you can do, and I would say that was close to it.
See those armbands pulling them off. Unforgiving event, parallel bars has become 15.266. Now he does move it into the second spot ahead of Lin Xiaopan. Tim, appropriate?
Really close. I'm not quite sure about that, to be perfectly honest. I didn't see definite errors from Chopin, but David was phenomenal as well, though. No question.
Tough one to call. Pablo Brega from Switzerland will be the fourth gymnast up. Man, what are you thinking if you're Pablo? Hopefully you didn't watch those first three guys, because it would be a little demoralizing.
Yeah, he's great on parallel bars. Very nice young man. Had the opportunity to meet him at an American Cup as well, and unique mount. He'll do this swing with a half turn done on the end of the bars. You don't see that often, and even more tricky. Really tricky right here. Little bit funky on it. It's called a Makutz, named after Bogdan Makutz, who is a fixture as a judge. Saw him before the meet began here in Montreal. But that position that he got himself into right there, that piked body or closed hip position, that should be at least 3/10 off. It's another very nice routine, but my opinion, that puts him out of the medals already. The three routines that we've seen so far, just a little bit better than that.
Pablo is a 2016 Olympian.
So watch this mount. Does it on the end of the bars, can put his grip in the opposite direction is typical because he's on the bend, on the end. Only seen a handful of guys that are able to pull that off. This is where he got a little funky here, kind of baps the bar a little bit on the swing through, but very, very difficult. And here, look at the bent hips, and his elbows at the start of that were a little bit flexed as well. Same dismount we saw from Beliovsky. Double front, half turn. Very, very good routine, but in the company of the gymnasts here on parallel bar finals, not at the same level.
Pablo waits for the score. Judges working a little hard on this one. 14.733. Does not crack the top three. We have some more finalists yet to come, but as of right now, Zhou Jingyuan of China has set an incredibly high standard on the parallel bars, but if anybody can knock him down, it's the defending Olympic champion, Oleg Vernayev. Welcome back to Montreal, Canada. Day 2 of the event finals here at the 2017 World Gymnastics Championships. We are halfway through the men's parallel bar finals, and it has been an exciting one. And we haven't even gotten to the defending Olympic champion on this event, Oleg Vernayev. He had an incredible Olympics in Rio, in an epic battle with Kohei Uchimura, the greatest gymnast to ever live in the all-around. He got second, but he got redemption on the parallel bars when he won gold.
He certainly did. He was only less than a 10th away from dethroning Kohei Uchimura, but it is great when it's golden.
well-deserved moment for him, and he's going to have his work cut out for him because Jingyuan of China started this event finals with a 15.9, which is a massive score. Outscored Oleg's qualification score by almost 0.5 of a point. So Oleg's got to be better than perfect, if there's such a thing.
Well, he's got to be perfect. You know, I mean, he's got the credentials. There's no question about it. And he does have a very difficult routine. His maximum starting score was a 16.7 in the prelims. Jingyuan, a 16.8, but it's the level of refinement and the ease at which Jingyuan makes the skills look. Oleg's fabulous, though. Let's see. Really nice. This is tricky right here, and the best I've seen him do it while he's been in Montreal, right there. He is not going to go quietly, I can guarantee you that. Now he will do his Bopsar. Really good.
Just like many of these routines in the event finals, it might come down to the dismount.
And that was excellent, right vertical. He has no major visible errors, folks, none.
Stick.
Oh,
wow.
My goodness.
Well, regardless of the results, I have to say this has been such a difficult week for him here in Montreal. For him to be able to do that routine on the event where he is the defending Olympic gold medalist, there's not much more you can ask for.
That is the most perfect I have ever seen Oleg look. Right there. That's saying a lot when you're the Olympic champion.
So Tim, do you think he's got it? What do you think the judges are going to do here?
You know what? It's going to be close. There is no question about that. This was much better. He had a great rhythm, beautiful body positions throughout. Nice flight on that release from the end to the middle.
A little knees on that bail if the judges can catch that in real time.
Yeah, he does, and he has that on both of those type elements as well. But I'll tell you what, this is going to be tight. Going to be really tight. I still am a fan of our lead-off parallel bar worker because of some of the skills he does, but that is money. He gains 4/10 over Jingyuan on that landing alone.
This is gonna be so close.
I don't think he's gonna get it. I think it's gonna be really close, but I don't know. I'm saying that now, and I don't know.
It is not. It is a 15.833, less than a 10th. I guess Tim Daggett's happy his guy Joe is sitting in that first spot, but holy cow, what an epic battle here on parallel bars. That was fantastic.
You know, these are my favorite type of event finals, when really all of the top athletes perform their absolute best, and that's what it comes down to.
Well, remember, Igor Radilov on vaulting lost by 1,000th of a point to Kenzo Shirai.
And that doesn't feel good, let me tell you.
That doesn't feel good, and that doesn't feel good right there for Oleg, but
again, you know, I think as I just said before the score came up, just for him to be able to finish on a clean routine, the best routine probably that he has had all week long here in Montreal, he can end his World Championships on a high note.
I'm telling you, though, I think that might have been the best routine I've ever seen Oleg Vernayev do on any event.
He reacted like it was, as we see German Marcel Nguyen get ready to do his P-bar routine. He's no slouch either. He's an Olympic silver medalist on this event.
Right off the top, watch his feet, and the perfection is not at the level, and you see on that release skill. Legs aren't pasted together. That was gorgeous right there. That's called a Morisui, named after a former great Japanese gymnast. A double back flip in the middle of the bars. And your arms just slam down. He's a little shy on one of those handstands. Another major release. Dismount, huge dismount. Full twisting double somersault, so challenging. The hardest dismount being done in the competition worldwide, right there. But a 3/10 deduction for sure on the landing, and a lot of little form issues throughout. It was tremendous, Marcel, but that should not be a podium placing. Valery Palenki, his longtime coach and former Soviet and member of the unified team in 1992, a fixture in German gymnastics now. Really difficult stuff.
You know, I think there's a lot of different skills in the gymnastics that are pretty painful, but that to me just looks like it could top all of them.
Yeah, I cringed through that whole routine. Every time you heard that slam on the bars, it
like
doesn't
that
tickle.
one right there. Yeah. John, you did that one. I never did that. They were not even invented when I was doing gymnastics. Really hard. Akash Modi from the US, one of the handful of folks that competes that consistently. He was an alternate for these world championships, that full twisting double.
Marcel knows it's not going to happen for him today. You can see that tattoo he's got on his arm. It was quite a project. Apparently took 20 hours. It's a week of work right there.
You guys know some German?
Guten Tag, that's about it.
With a name like Roethlisberger, I'm a little disappointed, John.
I do know a little more than that, but I don't want to just put myself out there and on the spot. You know, I'm not quite as fluent as Nastia over here in the Russian. Whatever he was saying, I don't think it was good. He was shaking his head a lot.
Well, I think at this point he knows he didn't quite do enough, doesn't have as high of a difficulty as the previous gymnast.
David Beliavsky is in that third spot, so he's the one that these guys could bump out of the top three. Marcel will end up in the 6th position.
And they got that right. I thought that Breger was better from Switzerland, and he certainly couldn't challenge either of the Chinese or Oleg or Beliavsky, actually.
You know, he had an 8.5 for his execution score, Tim. Joe, the leadoff, had a 9.1. I find it hard to believe there's only 0.6 of separation between those two.
There weren't, but that's what they came up with. That's one of the frustrations many people have with gymnastics right now. A lot of times the execution score ranks the gymnast properly, but the differentiation is not as good and as relevant as it should be.
Enrique Larduet from Cuba will be the final gymnast in these parallel bar finals. Now we know he needs a massive 15.9 to win this, but also keep in mind, better than a 15.266 will get him on the podium at these World Championships for the first time.
Scored a 15.2 and was the 3rd highest qualifier in
Day 2 of the competition in the all-around finals. Only scored a 14.9.
Took a little step in that first handstand and legs came apart.
Sounds like a few too many little mistakes.
But watch this. Watch how high he gets. Look at his hips compared to the bars. That's unworldly. Once again, as he's tapping into that element, has a little bit of knee flexion. It would happen right there. A smaller one, but it was still there. Same dismount we saw from Oleg, just a different result. A slide back on the landing. Once again, in any other competition, Anywhere else in the world, everybody would be glued to that routine and they would be talking about it for weeks. But when you put it up against the very, very best in the world, and the very, very best in the world have some of their greatest exercises ever, that should not factor in right there.
Well, he's not going to take over the top spot, but Tim, could he knock off Beliavsky?
Well, it's close. It's close. He scored a 15.2 in qualifying, and I don't think this routine was as good, but he goes completely out of frame. You love it. You know, sometimes you see a ball go out of frame, but hard to see a body go out of frame.
He launched that.
Craziness. So you see those knees come apart just a little bit. I think the podium should remain exactly how it is right now. Joe, Oleg, and David should go 1, 2, 3. Personally, I also think that Xiaopan was a little cleaner as well.
I think his coach was a bit excited, but also knew he wanted that that stick landing. Not going to do it. 15.166, exactly 1/10 behind that man, David Beliavsky, who gets his second medal here at these World Championships. The Russians with their third medal on the men's side. They now move into a tie with Japan for second most medals, but it is China that gets the gold.
Deservedly. I have to say deservedly. Oleg was phenomenal, but that routine was like poetry. It takes your breath away in ways that you can't even describe.
It's hard to find any routine in any part of gymnastics where the level of difficulty is done with such ease, or makes it look like it's done with such ease.
He actually didn't just take my breath away, he stole my breath.
Oleg with the silver, David Beliavsky with the bronze, and that man
with his own tiny flag right there.
That's right.
Hey, you know what? When you win gold, you don't need to bring out the big flag.
So happy for both Oleg and David, though. They have not had the best of championships here. David, of course, did get a medal in the pommel horse, a silver, but struggled in the all-around, as did Oleg.
So that gold medal for China, their fifth medal at these World Championships. They lead the way, as Tim mentioned. They had a rough time in Rio, and they are bouncing back strong. We have one more event for the women. And young Jade Carey, she won a silver medal on vault. Can she improve on that on the floor exercise? World Gymnastics Championships have taken place in North America 3 times, once in Anaheim, California, and now for the second time in Montreal, Canada. It certainly has been a memorable one as the women come out to get ready for the floor exercise. Mai Murakami, if she's not the sentimental favorite for a lot of people right now to come out of here with a medal, comes so close in the all-around, incredibly close in the balance beam as well. And I love Tim Daggett because he's always got my back. Indianapolis was also the site of a World Championships. I guess it wasn't that big a deal because Kim Zemeskel just won her first ever all-around title for the United States women. But so this is the 4th World Championships in North America.
And someone that would have been out on the floor right now is Kim Zemeskel with her star pupil, Regan Smith, who qualified into the floor as the #1 spot, but that injury immediately prior to the all-around championships for Regan took her out of not just all-around, but floor finals as well, where she was leading, as I said.
And there she is, making her debut at the World Championships. She won silver on vault, in which was also a tight competition. Some think she deserved the gold. She'll have a chance to win gold here on floor exercise. And that young lady, she can tumble.
Qualified in third place on the floor exercise.
Great Britain will have a representative here on the floor exercise as well, Claudia Fragapane. And here's the hometown favorite.
Representing Canada, Elizabeth Black.
And had a great championships here, getting the silver medal, but then faltering on balance beam. And I'll tell you what, she is a very competitive young lady, and she will not want to finish or conclude her worlds that way.
Representing Brazil,
And Ellie Black, by the way, is the gymnast who got in because of Regan Smith.
Another injury at these Worlds was Rebecca Andrade from Brazil, who re-injured a knee that with a torn ACL on it.
Championship silver medalist on floor.
And she's been around a long time. The second representative from Italy in these floor finals, Vanessa Ferrari.
11 years ago, she was the best in the world in the all-round. 2006, and she is still going. Amazing.
La finale féminine au sol. This is the women's floor final.
Introductions are complete. They'll make their way over to the floor exercise. It's center stage here at Montreal Olympic Stadium.
That young lady right there, Brooklyn Moores, looking forward to her routine. Beautiful, beautiful gymnastics. Her sister, floor champion before her, Victoria Moores.
Brooklyn will be the second gymnast up in the rotation. Mai Murakami gets the often tough first spot, but we saw on the parallel bars, Zhou Jingyuan, he won it from the first spot, and she has got a routine that could do it.
One of the most powerful female athletes in the world. Super difficult tumbling.
She qualified second into these event finals, but the gymnast who qualified first is Regan Smith.
Quad turn a little bit better than she did in the all-around, actually. Watch this.
Not only was that super difficult, but very well controlled on that landing. This has been a great routine so far. Needs to land on her feet.
Well, we won't see anything more difficult than that, and I don't know if we'll see anything better executed. What a way to start the floor final.
Was so close to winning that all-around title, came off of the balance beam.
And then the beam finals again with that fourth place finish. But man, she came off the floor, she pumped her fist. It's like she knew this is it. You're not taking this one away.
Yeah, and I think you're right. I think she deserves a podium finish for sure. Just gorgeous, double twisting, double back.
Had the highest potential score in the qualifying, along with Regan Smith at a 15.8. There's a couple that competed 15.7s, but what really was fabulous about this routine are the landings. The biggest hop backwards or step was at the end, but even that is on the bubble of being only 1/10 of a point off.
And this could be pretty historic if she finds herself on that podium. Japan's only women's floor exercise world medal came in 1954.
Do you remember that one, Tim?
And that was a bronze medal, so she's, of course, hoping for at least that. But yeah, I think she could possibly win the gold. She could
do it all, yes, absolutely. We just saw it happen on parallel bars. It's a rarity in the sport of gymnastics, going first up and coming home with the top spot, but
Be So Good, they can't deny you a 14.233, 2/10 lower than her score in qualifications, but that difficulty score of 5.9.
Yes, even higher than she did in the qualifying. And remember, the different judging panels on the floor, so they're all going to react slightly differently.
So here's Brooklyn Moores from Canada in her first World Championship. She finished 15th in the all-around.
I love this routine.
I was just about to say, it is just absolutely gorgeous.
And her tumbling, her first tumbling run is very similar to what Ukrainian Lilia Podkapayeva did to secure an Olympic all-around gold medal way back in 1996. But Lilia still considered one of the all-time greats in the sport of gymnastics. She's going to do a handspring double front with a half turn. Just a handful of people in the world even think about doing this.
Yeah, Lilia Podkapayeva was actually one of my idols, someone that I watched and inspired me.
It's right off the top. Great. Well, you can't fake art. If it makes you feel something, that's the definition, and I sure did.
Absolutely stunning. Not quite as difficult as we just saw from Mai, but just absolutely gorgeous. Earlier this week, actually won the prize of elegance that is awarded at every World Championship competition. Very well deserved.
Elvira Sadi, her coach, congratulating her. So this is that. No, it's not. I thought we were going to look at the Podkapayeva on floor, 2.5 to a punch front. That, at the very end, was potentially the biggest deduction in the exercise out of that front flip. Here is that mount not again.
Fooling you today, Tim.
Doing that extra jump out of it, that way she doesn't incur any deductions for stepping.
I loved that, though. Just this whole
The dance is just brilliant. Every little move just done with so much elegance.
Like you said, though, Nastia, it was phenomenal, but it not as well executed as Mai from Japan, certainly. So her sister was so great on floor as well, as I said, actually the originator of a double twisting double layout on floor. uber difficult.
So the Canadian crowd loved it. Now it's just a matter of what the judges thought of it. A 13.65 in second place. Appropriate according to our analysts. Nice job from her, but right now, Mai Murakami, she owns the floor exercise. Can she hold on to that top spot and maybe win her first medal at these World Championships? "41 years ago in Montreal, Canada, it was the 1976 Olympics, and one of the most iconic moments in the history of gymnastics. Nadia Comaneci gets the first perfect 10 in the Olympic Games. It all took place here in Montreal.
It was so unthought of that they couldn't even display it on the scoreboard. It said 1.0, but everybody knew it was the first 10.
This is Jade Carey. This was event finals, the first event finals for the women, the vault, and she had a great chance to win gold. She ends up with silver. This is her first vault.
Well, this is where she secured her silver, in my opinion, and probably gave away the gold. It's unreal power. Look at the height, but right there, those two bounding step forward. If she had had only one, she would have brought home the gold. She did in warm-ups vaults that were far superior to that. It's got every quality that you look for on vaulting except for that right there. You gotta freeze and don't even move.
So now a chance to add a second medal. Jade Carey, floor exercise for the United States.
And so significant because she came out of nowhere. She wasn't even considered what we call an elite gymnast capable of competing at the Worlds last year.
Well, this is going to be rather interesting because that was probably the best floor routine that we have ever seen from Jade Carey.
And then some.
Wow.
How nervous is Mai Murakami right now?
Well, you know, Mai definitely has a slight edge on her. She had a 15.9 potential score. In qualifications, Jade had a 15.7.
That is not just her coach, but her father as well. And he is one proud papa right now. Look at the height and the amplitude. Double twisting double. She could do another twist. Wow. She has had a stratospheric rise in the sport of gymnastics. As I was saying before, was a junior Olympic athlete last year.
Was spotted at a level 10 competition by the national staff, was invited to a national team training camp, competed at the national championships, made that national team, and here she is. Already has a world silver medal, most likely adding another medal. We'll just have to see what color that is.
Full in at the end. You don't see that from female gymnasts or male gymnasts very often. Just for perspective, that's what Simone dismounted with in the Olympic Games when she won not only all around, but team and floor exercise titles.
Congrats, Dad loves it. And Morgan Hurd's got 2 medals. Can Jade Carey get a second of her own?
So Mai Murakami, like you said, Nastia had that 15-9 potential score, but she had an 8.333 execution score.
A 14-2, and it was close. .033. Jade Carey sits in the second spot, and you know, it's funny. You get a little and you just want more. A year ago, she's at a junior competition, and now on the floor of the World Championships. She's disappointed not to be in first place right now.
Wow. 3. This is our third heartbreakingly close final.
This is Great Britain's Claudia Fragapane, also a big tumbler.
Oh boy, and right there, off the top, we saw her warm up, a rebound out of that, and she was over-rotated, very close to going out of bounds. I'm not quite sure if she did. Well, her mount was super difficult, but had errors. But after the mount, she had some really great landings.
Had the same difficulty score as Jade.
I can't imagine that it will challenge either Jade or Mai Murakami. Brooklyn Moores, a 13.65, holds the bronze medal position at this point. So here's that mount. Now look at the landing here. You see that step? And I do not see that heel touching red. She actually was on the British equivalent of the Dancing with the Stars, Strictly Come Dancing. Said it was a great experience. She wanted to do it to help her with the artistic component of the sport. She came away with a 4th place finish. But a very powerful athlete. And look at this at the end. Double pike and then wham, right there. No movement at all.
So better than a 13.65 gets her on the podium. And again, the top spot currently held by Mai Murakami is a 14.233. Her coach loves it.
Zane, please, please, please.
And it is going to get her on the podium for the time being, a 13.933. So Brooklyn Moores is bumped off.
I think they got that right, though. I really do. It should not have broken into the top 2. It is so painful to wait. This would be somewhat unprecedented if the first leadoff on parallel bars and floor can hold on to win the big prize. That would be amazing.
When Regan Smith went out of the floor finals, this young lady moved in. Ellie Black, this is the event that she clinched the all-around silver medal.
Gonna be curious to see if she upgrades some of her difficulty for the floor final here. I know she's capable of it. And that was not just 1 foot. I believe the other heel was also out of bounds. 1 foot out, it's a 10th. If both are out, 3/10 off.
Out in the all-around competition, only dismounted with a double twist. We'll see if she upgrades here.
And she does significantly, but I think she pays the price for it.
So probably a smarter move that she did in the all-around finals that helped her clinch the silver medal.
And Tim Daggett mentioned it. We don't know if Ellie Black is going to retire after this competition, but if she does, Ellie Black, an amazing career. You are the greatest female gymnast Canada has ever had.
So this is very difficult starting. 2.5 twisting layout into this double tuck, but let's look at, yes, that right heel was definitely out of bounds. That doesn't mean that the judge from their perspective is going to see it, but 1 foot, a 10th.
Oh yeah, definitely.
No question. And I would be surprised if they didn't see that as well. But I tell you what, she really upped her game at the end, doing that front layout full to a double pike.
A huge upgrade from the double full dismount we saw in the all-around finals, where she definitely played it safe.
And here it is right here, but look at her chest position as she lands way down and a bound forward.
But good for her for going all out, adding some difficulty in the floor finals. In a week that she will remember for the rest of her life, competing at the World Championships in front of a home crowd, making history for her country.
So that 12.9 does not get Ellie Black onto the podium, and it also guarantees my Murakami will get a medal. We don't know for sure what color it is, but for her, a bit of relief and certainly a bit of joy finally getting on that podium. It's Thais Santos from Brazil, our next gymnast.
She is also a first-year senior gymnast, is 16 years old, the age that you have to be to compete in a World or Olympics Games.
Very close to the edge.
I think she went out. I think those toes were in the red.
Beautiful.
And another really great floor routine, super difficult tumbling, and done well.
Brazil has not won a world medal on the floor exercise since 2003. And of course, it was a gold medal, Diana dos Santos.
Watch this, though. A lot of gymnastics here. 1.5 twisting layout into an Arabian double front, which is very difficult. And you know what? I misspoke because
John was right.
From that view, I would have to say she did not go out of bounds. But look at that. A whip back into a triple full. Did this so easy. A lot of gymnasts, when they're doing a double back with a full twist, they got to get their hands on their legs and pull like crazy. She doesn't even do that. It's in an open position, which makes it much more difficult.
Just explodes off that floor. Slow motion really gives you an idea of that amplitude.
They have very high hopes for this young lady. Had a chance to talk with some of the Brazilian Federation team members. Just wanted her to stay within herself and not worry about Catalina Ponar or Reagan Smith or Morgan Hurd.
13.666 puts her in 4th place, just outside of the medal. Claudia Fragapane will stay in the 3rd spot, and with that score, Jade Carey is guaranteed a medal, at least a bronze, possibly a silver, depending on what this young lady does. 2006 World All-Around Champion Vanessa Ferrari, 26 years of age, still going strong.
Was bad. Nowhere near.
And that looked
enough rotation on that.
Yeah, that looked bad. And we are not even going to begin to talk about what that is. Obviously, it's not good. Our hearts go out to Vanessa Ferrari. So we're going to clean up this floor exercise final, have the results when we come back. So that is your floor exercise world champion for 2017, Mai Murakami, and well-deserved. A couple close calls earlier in this competition. Couldn't quite get that medal. A big one for Japan, and you got to think, looking ahead 3 years, Mai Murakami has got to be eyeing Tokyo in 2020. Tears of joy for her. Ellie Black, maybe a career, we don't know. Jade Carey gets her 2nd medal of these world championships, but unfortunately that has got to be heavy on the minds of everyone in this arena right now. Vanessa Ferrari getting carried off, and talk about a young lady that's had a great career of her own. We just hope it's not too serious, and we hope we do get to see her again, because she has been a lot of fun to watch. She's done a lot of great gymnastics, and right now, unfortunately, this has got to be a low point. We wish all the best to Vanessa. Speedy recovery, and, you know, not to go back to the well, but injuries have kind of been somewhat of the theme of this World Championships, and
too many.
Too many.
On the men's and women's side, a lot of people have complained about the lighting. But wow, took herself out of the all-around. And Jade Carey, though, comes to her first major international event. And she kind of maybe gave away the gold on floor on vaulting, but I think she earned the silver on floor.
Really was, in my opinion, the best I've ever seen her do. And you know, she came into this year really unsure about her elite career, if this was going to be the only year, but we definitely hope to see more of Jade Carey in the future.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what she decides to do. She's committed to Oregon State to compete collegiately. I know there is gymnastics fans, not just in the United States, but around the world, that would love to see her back on the big international floor. And let's not forget the bronze medalist, Claudia Fragapan, getting her first world medal. We're going to have the most exciting event in all of gymnastics, men's high bar final, right around the corner. In 2018, the world's best athletes compete on the world's biggest stage, the Winter Olympics, coming February to the networks of NBC Universal. Man, I love watching the Winter Games. It is truly exciting.
2012
And the Flying Dutchman, Epke Zonderland, Olympic champion in 2012 on high bar, not to be in 2016. But talk about a guy who's always got a smile on his face and always fun to watch.
The best word that I can think of to describe his high bar is radical. It is off the charts, crazy and connected.
Representing Switzerland, Oliver Egge.
And we have another Swiss gymnast, Oliver Egge, who will be competing on the high bar as well.
And that's a change. Pablo Breger from Switzerland
he came out earlier in the introductions, did Pablo. We caught these intros in the middle, okay, as we see Randy LaRue from Cuba come out. Japan with another chance to
World Championship debut, representing
win another
Japan,
medal here. I tell you what, Japan, it's amazing. Kohei Uchimura is the story for Japan coming in, but now leaving these games, this competition rather, Kenzo Shirai and Mai Murakami are the names everybody's talking about, 2 world champions out of this competition.
Also making his World Championship debut, representing Croatia, Tim Srbić.
Croatian gymnast making his first World Championship appearance. And his 4th individual final here at these World Championships. David Beliavsky, disappointing outcome in the all-around competition, but he has come back already with 2 individual medals.
and you know he's capable of really doing a very nice high bar routine. But you see a beautiful release there. This is in the all-around finals, and in combination right here, gonna do this full turn, and this isn't even far. I still can't believe it as he can.
And here we are in Rio, Tim. Another favorite to win gold, but it went very, very wrong.
Looking for some redemption himself. Gigantic air, and oh, yikes.
That is a chiropractor's worst nightmare.
Oh, yeah, that was brutal.
So his countryman from the Netherlands, Bart Derloo, will be the first gymnast up. Got to see if any of that high-flying gymnastics has rubbed off from Epke Zonderland onto Bart Derloo.
Oh, it has. It has on a lot of these guys, though. That's the thing. When Epke won his gold medal, he was really kind of the only guy that was doing the major releases connected together. Now there are, you know, a bunch of people that do it. We'll even see somebody try a more difficult release than Epke will do. A little later from our gymnast from Japan.
So here we go. The 6-ring circus now focuses on the high-flying high bar.
Looking for handstands, and he got that one, but a little labored. Here we go. There's one. Really nice combination. Little messy, but another release right there. Well, a very good start, as we've had throughout these championships, but
And I love the look on, especially when the athletes finish high bar. It's a look of excitement, but it's a look of, thank goodness that's over.
so here he's supposed to go right to a handstand, and he does get the handstand position. The one before it, though, was a little bit wonky at the end of it. Now done in combination here. Nice. That's called a Kovacs double flip over the bar. He connected that. We didn't get to see it there, but not the cleanest high bar routine we'll see. Has some little bit of form, and feet are flexed from time to time, but really difficult exercise, to say the least.
How would you love to see him and Epke in the gym just trying to one-up each other, playing a little game of add-on on the high bar.
He had a 16.1 maximum starting score. Now, relative to Epke, he had a 16.5.
And he gets a 14.2.
You see that 8-0 execution. High bar, like balance beam, is probably the strictest, most strict evaluated event on the men's side. Every single one of those angles have to be perfect.
There was only 2 gymnasts that made these event finals that scored higher than an 8-point on the execution side. This is Pablo Vega.
He actually has a staggering 16.8 maximum potential score in qualifying.
Actually qualified in 2nd place. And scored even higher in the all-around finals a few days ago.
Beautiful releases. Gets a lot of air time. In combination.
Beautiful.
This is great stuff.
Oh,
golly.
He does all of that and goes the wrong way on that skill.
Oh,
ouch.
Boy.
Probably on one of the more easier skills of the routine.
And that is a half-a-point deduction when you go the wrong way. He also had some form on it. He also will lose the points that he would have gotten for doing the element because he didn't complete it.
So a great opportunity, possibly lost for Pablo. Came in with the highest start value of any gymnast out of the preliminaries. But that big mistake right there is going to be costly.
Qualified in 2nd. Very clean, though. Love the releases. That's called a Coleman. This nice reverse hecht connected right here. Really, really good stuff. But watch right here. Oh, that's actually the, sorry.
Fool us both on that one, Tim. Thought that was going to be the mistake.
Very common element, a hop full on your giant. Many, the top gymnasts perform that right before their dismount.
Just that step on the dismount, but again, after that major mistake in the middle of the routine, unfortunately, I'm not sure he'll be able to hold on to a podium finish.
Judges have not exactly been in a hurry throughout this competition. 14.2 currently is the high score. Pablo will not break that at 13.733. Will, for the moment at least, have that second position. But now the man everyone has been waiting for, Epke Zonderland, two-time world champion on this event, 2 world silver medals on this event, and an Olympic gold medal in 2012, disaster in 2016. Could this be a bit of redemption for him?
Imagine having the fall like he did in Rio and wanting to come back and do this kind of stuff again. Right here it starts. Oh boy, yikes. It's not a disaster, not good, but not a disaster. Was going to try to connect that one. I'm a little confused. He's changed it up a bit.
Give him a break, Tim. He's hanging on by one hand.
Wow.
Talk about fighting till the very end.
Come on, put this to your feet. Double, double. Oh.
Wow.
Tim, break down that one skill by skill. Man, holy cow. I just about fell out of my chair when he was swinging around on one arm.
And I think that's pretty much what every coach teaches you when you're a young athlete. No matter what happens, always try to hang on and finish it.
You mean hang on with one hand?
Whatever it takes.
Watch this right here. Connected, and we're not going to get to see it, I don't think, but...
Wait a minute, right here.
There it is.
And just didn't get the hand over.
Look at that. The torque that is happening through the bottom, and to be able to hold on.
And that's the same skill he had the fall on in Rio, the exact one, but he managed to get one dowel over the bar.
That takes a special kind of person that is willing to take the risks like that. Unbelievable.
You know, I'm sure...
I bet this guy likes motorcycles.
You know, I'm sure that Olympic medal, obviously all those medals he's won on this event, he's very proud of, but every once in a while you do something that might not result in a medal, but you're as proud of as a lot of things you've done in his career. And to hold on that bar, hang in there literally, not give up, and honestly, this will be interesting to see where he ends up, because he's got a high start value, and he may at least have given him a chance to still end up on that podium in some position.
Wow.
And right now it's in the top spot of 14.233. That difficulty score of 6.5 helped him, because obviously the judges hammered him on the execution, just a 7-7 there.
He overcame his teammate Bart DeLu, but hey, if you're Bart, you can't be upset. The guy can catch the bar with one hand. Unreal. Check it out.
You just don't know what drama is going to come next. This World Championships is absolutely not disappointed. We've got more high bars still to come. So halfway through the high bar finals, Epke Zonderland seems to always have a flair for the dramatic. He can't just hit a high bar routine. He's got to make it as dramatic as possible, and he is just 0.033 ahead of his teammate after 4 routines on the high bar, and he's still talking about catching that bar. I bet he's never squeezed it harder than he did right there. If he hadn't hung on, I think he might have ended up in the judge's lap. So we see Randy LaRue from Cuba getting ready for high bar, hoping to win Cuba's first medal at these World Championships. Manrique Larduet, who had high hopes coming into this competition, that he would not only hopefully win an individual event medal, but in the all-around, he wanted to end up on top. Didn't happen.
Won the qualifying, but they start from scratch, as they are doing here in all of the finals. Nice Olympic rings tattooed on his back. He's a high flyer as well. Really nice one-arm dryland. That's called a Zoli Min, after a great Chinese gymnast. Here we go. Huge air. Wow, that was fingertips. And one more. Nicely done. Nice jam right to a handstand. Has had relatively good form and good handstand positions, but oh my goodness.
That is absolutely devastating. Beautiful routine. Would have certainly given him a chance to win this event if he could have nailed that landing, and heartbreaking.
Yeah, I think he would have been leading. Not so now, though. Full point off when you sit down. A landing like that. But really high-flying stuff. Can't see it right there, but that was a full twisting Tkachev. Actually bears the name Lukin, I believe.
Of course, not after me. Could never do such a thing, but my father could.
And this is unreal, that this could happen. You know, yeah, you can take a step, you can take a hop, but he's done this so many times, and he spots the landing, and he is just way over and was not ready to take a super quick step back. I don't know if he could have held on to it, but
I bet there's not too many times that he's ever even done that in training like that.
That's not a hard landing for that man, especially when he's coming in that high. Maybe just a little bit too much juice, a little too much adrenaline, and you're thinking as a gymnast too, man, this was a great routine, just nail this landing, nail this dismount.
A little too excited.
Tried a little too hard, maybe. Very likely would have been Cuba's first medal at these World Championships, and it very well could have been gold.
Well, we can just, all you got to do is add a point to his final score. So that would have been a 14.1.
Well, the difficulty for that dismount as well, he didn't get. Would have been close. Tim Dagg and I are going to agree to disagree.
It's been a lot of that this week here.
So now Japan gets ready to go. Hidetaka Mayaki.
Hold on, folks, because this is also radical. He is doing one of the most difficult skills in all of gymnastics right now. He's going to do one of those double flips over the bar, but he's also going to add 2 twists to it. Just off the charts, incredibly difficult. Here comes his first release right here. Oh my God, that was gorgeous.
Wow.
And he did it laid out. Didn't know he was gonna do that. Here it is, tucked. Oh, oh my goodness.
Oh.
Did he hit it? Did he hit the bar? Maybe.
And that does not bend, that steel bar.
Never did we realize what holding on to, how valuable holding on to the bar with one hand can be, because apparently that's all you need to do here in the high bar finals. That was stratospheric, as Tim Daggett would say, the difficulty, otherworldly.
And because he did that, that skill should bear his name in the code of points, a double twisting, laid out Kovacs. But the record books will not show him. There it is right there, he does it again. Now he's gonna try to do a combination here. Nope. Wow.
I think he just got back up and decided, I'm gonna do every release I can think of. Unbelievable.
After really having a scary landing on that second release skill. Wow. I bet Epke's even saying, you know what, I don't think I want to do that.
I think Epke is thinking, I better upgrade before the next World Championships. That was amazing.
You know, I think one of the most frustrating things is when you fall on a scale, get back up, do it again perfectly.
That's gutty.
Yeah, you're kind of thinking, okay, now where was that about 30 seconds ago?
So when you do it tucked, it's called a Brettschneider from Germany. He was the first guy to do it, but oh boy, yeah.
Wow.
Ooh.
Speaking from someone who's hit their face on the bar, it is not an enjoyable experience. This is after the fall right there. And some gymnasts can't even do one of those double flips over the bar. Never mind doing about 7 of them, and 2 of them have 2 twists on them.
Well, I remember my teammate Trent Demas in 1992 did 1 Kovacs, and back in those days, that was a huge deal. Everybody stopped to watch, and he won the Olympic gold with it. My, how times have changed.
Yeah. He also stuck a triple back, though, under incredible pressure. I have no idea what his potential start score is going to be, but it'll be higher than anybody else.
He came in with a 6-2, but I have a feeling that was a bit of a different routine than he did in the qualifications, just based on Tim Daggett's reaction. So a 6-7 start value, the highest start value so far, but the fall, man, he was still close though. 4th spot, even with that mistake.
That surprises me. I thought he would have been, his starting score would have been higher. I didn't write everything down, and it's a complicated formula, to say the least.
Ken Srbek from Croatia.
Nice semi-release. Beautiful combination right here. Look at this. 3 elements in a row. Very clean so far. Needs a handstand, and that was his first big deduction. 3/10 off, and probably 3/10 on that for catching the bar so far out of the handstand, but nice full twisting double layout.
Well, Tim, you said it was clean, but it's not one of those routines that is a high-flying circus act like we've seen so far. Does that make a difference in the eyes of the judges, regardless of the execution of the routine itself?
Well, it's not supposed to. It's absolutely not supposed to, but it's hard to watch the kind of gymnastics that we have and then look at a routine like this and evaluate it the same way. Because although this is really challenging to do, 3 in a row like that, it is not like doing a double twisting laid out Kovacs.
We've said it from the open of the show, the high bar finals are always exciting, interesting, scary. So many different ways to describe it.
But don't count him out. He had the bronze medal finish in qualification. He was third with a 14.366. He would go to the top, and
we will see, and he's got a 16.4 start value, so it's right in there with some of the best. And so far it is the best, a 14.433. Tin Srbic moves to the top of the podium for the moment, and he will get a medal because there's only one gymnast left to go. Epke Zonderland will also get a medal. It will not be gold. Will it be silver? Will it be bronze? Ork and Bart Derlu, his teammate, also stay on the podium. We just have one gymnast to go. It's David Bilyavsky from Russia.
Croatia has never won a high bar world gold medal. Their best finish was a bronze in 2014.
That's surprising, though. Yes, he has been the cleanest athlete so far. Epke's going to get a medal for high bar. He also gets one for courage from me.
Now, David Bilyavsky trying to exercise some demons of the high bar. This is where his all-around competition fell apart.
He has a very similar style routine to the one we just saw that the judges evaluated very well. Oh, boy. And that right there is a very, very big mistake. He doesn't get over the bar, which means it is no skill. That's where he faltered in the all-around, but watch this. This is cool. Shades of Kurt Thomas.
Looks painful. So the problems on high bar continue for David Bilyavsky. He will leave these world championships with his first 2 world medals, 2 silvers. One on pommel horse, actually. A bronze medal, rather, on the parallel bars.
Silver on the pommel, as you said.
Silver on pommel, yep.
Not gonna get one here, but I'm still I'm a little shocked by the scoring, but I get it. You know, that, like I said, high bar has been the balance beam of men's gymnastics with strict evaluation. You see he gets the hand on the bar, but just barely. And it
another
pings
one-arm
off.
swing out. Seen 2 of those now.
This is cool. These are called German giants. Used to be a requirement to do a skill like that, and it is not anymore. So frankly, I have no idea why he still does it, because it hurts.
Yeah. So not going to happen for David Bilyavsky, but it is for Tin Srbic. The first ever Croatian gold medal, as we see his score good enough for 6th for David Bilyavsky, 13.533. We're going to finish up this World Championships and look at these high bar results after we come back. The World Gymnastics Championships have been brought to you by AT&T. We told you it was the most exciting event in all of gymnastics, and it did not disappoint. Epke Zonderland was high flying, but it wasn't enough. Tin Srbic from Croatia wins the first gold medal at a World Championships for that country. What an exciting way to finish. I can only imagine what these gymnasts have up their sleeve in the future. This World Championships has been unbelievable. There was a surprise around every corner and some great performances. Many first times from many different countries getting on the podium. Man, what a way to start an Olympic quadrennium. It is going to be a fun ride on our way to Tokyo 2020. For Tim Daggett and Nasty Lukin, I'm John Roethlisberger. So long from Montreal and the 2017 World Gymnastics Championship.